Next up, we're delighted to present Becky Ausenda, Change for Public Schools.
Thank you so much for putting my talk after the roller derby. Good evening, everybody. My name's Becky, and I set up Bermuda Education Network 4 years ago. Our mission is to provide support to government schools, and we've already heard from a couple of organizations who are involved in the same space. So what our objective was to find a way to make a framework where everyone could fit in. And I think I've already detected that is what our community wants to know. How are we all collaborating? How are we all working together? So that's what Bermuda Education Network is all about. And my mission this evening is to give you all a few ideas about how we can get greater community involvement, that means all of us, in our government schools. So take it away. So this is about empathy. You know, you drive along and you see these signs and you hit the brakes because you're thinking about somebody else's kids. And there's a golden rule in education as well that you should be thinking, is it good enough for a child I love? So if you're looking at a local school and you're thinking, no way my son's going there, then we all know we need to find a way to contribute. This is the bad news. The Hopkins Report 7 years ago, still a lot of things that have not been implemented from those recommendations. And so that's another reason why we, the community, cannot wait for the people on high to sort it out. We've got to think of something that we can do. And I'm going to give you a whole range of practical things that the community can do by, for example, getting involved with school libraries. Now, we don't want you to necessarily renovate libraries. That seems to be a popular thing to do. We don't want you to give computers to schools. We want people to go in there and volunteer. And there are some organizations like YouthNet who are setting up reading groups. And that's a better approach. And here's another good approach. You can volunteer for one of the organizations that does field trips. Go along to a place where the children can have an experience and take something that you can connect with literacy. Here we are doing a field trip about trees, and our teacher there is reading poems about trees. And they all look really into it, don't they? This is a great model for community involvement. This is Rubis, the gas station people, and they sponsored a group of kids to do sailing all summer. The kids were from Victor Scott and Francis Patton. And I just love this picture because it really is what it's all about. Let's spend our money on getting kids to have an experience rather than, buying things for schools. Another example, Bermuda National Trust, outstanding education programs that they provide. Here are the children learning about biology, actually getting out of the classroom. And, we usually ask the principals, what is it that you want from us? And we'll find the people in the community who are already doing that, okay? So that's the whole philosophy. When we asked Cedarbridge and Berkeley's principal, what do you want? They said, more help with career guidance. So we set up the Springboard program. And here they are doing a mock trial. Anybody recognize the wig from another Pecha Kucha? So this is them learning about law, doing a mock trial simulation. And this program is just one of our springboards. Another thing that the principals quite often ask for is more arts education in schools. I mean, this is very close to my heart. We're using a Harvard Graduate School of Education methodology called Artful Thinking to do workshops at the Bermuda National Gallery. And we also connect with Masterworks and Kaleidoscope Arts Foundation. And the children are looking at images and trying to say, what do I see? What do I think about it? And what do I still wonder? And it's almost like mental yoga. They're sort of expanding their thought process and then getting help to build ideas from this whole artful thinking routine. Tree pose. So is it working? How are we doing? Are we getting anywhere? Well, we're not really getting to the heart of the issue, which Professor Hopkins said, quality of teaching, unless we're also working with the adults. So we're trying to do that, and we're hoping that some of our methodology is rubbing off on public school teachers. And we work very closely with some of these government schools. I think we could do a lot more in terms of bringing in people from our community to come and talk to the kids. I mean, how many of us who have children have said, what do you do at school today? And they say, nothing. And that doesn't happen when they've had somebody exciting like Tom Watson come and talk to them. That's the way to get kids excited about learning. This is another way to get kids excited about learning. People have talked about it already this evening, experiential learning. The RBYC is teaching a group of P5s from Prospect Primary in this picture. 2 of those boys have gone on to represent Bermuda in international regattas. So, I mean, this is awesome stuff. We could do with volunteers to help out in that area. When we've decided we are at the next stage of our work, which is actually organising the help that we can get from the community. And one way to look at it is that there are 3 needs that the schools are serving. So there's the academic side, and then there's the social needs and the enrichment. And we're trying this out in a pilot program at Prospect Primary. We've actually got permission from the principal and the deputy principal to approach all of the groups who are already working with that school. And we said, can we just get everybody together as a committee? And they said, sure thing, go ahead. So that's how easy it was. We've now got people like Windreach, Kaleidoscope Arts Foundation, Coalition for Protection of Children, Bermuda National Trust, a church, and some other community volunteers all getting together on a monthly basis to talk about how can we improve our communication with the schools, with this particular school, and what can our organisations do together, shared goals, in order to improve the learning outcomes. I love this picture. Watershed moment in Bermuda. This is when our parents took things into their own hands and said, we're not prepared to listen to a top-down proclamation about transferring our principles. They said, we want to know whether this is putting our children first, and nobody has told us what the plan is here. And this is another way to get people involved from the community, a school-wide competition that involves both public and private schools. There's huge scope for more collaboration between the public and the private sector in our schooling system. And everybody always says, oh, shock horror, you can't propose that. The government school teachers will find it really offensive if you say that they need help from the private schools. But I think that's not true, because we do a lot of conferences and seminars which involve both private and public teachers. And most of the time they all know each other. Half the people in the private schools used to work in the public schools. Half the people in the public schools used to work in the private schools. And their attitude is really, we're all in this together. They know what the population is like in the government schools, and they realise the challenges that their colleagues are up against. And there's a great feeling of collaboration and mutual respect between our educators. I just think that we need to stop being so sensitive about that one and just get some stuff done. So, hopefully a few ideas, practical ideas of how all of us can volunteer through the charities that you've heard from tonight, through other charities like the National Gallery, BUEI, Masterworks, in order to have a real impact. And I hope it's the step in the right direction. Thanks.
Wondering if you're aware of I'm not sure if it's something that still goes on, but do you know the situation as far as like children getting fluoride in schools? Does that still happen? And if so, have you
Well, I know when my kids were at St George's Prep, they used to get fluoride, but not really my field.
Yeah. Okay, I just wanted to mention it might be something you want to look into for sure.
Yeah.
Sorry, similar question to ask Gordon. You were in reinsurance, right? How did you end up in Ben?
I was working for Partner E, and we had a charity committee, and I also at the same time had kids in the government school system, and I started to become aware that we were getting a lot of requests for charitable donations from different organisations, and just seemed like my skill set of project management and that kind of thing might be helpful in the public education space. I was ready for a change after 12 years as an attorney.
Hi, good evening. Question about the approach to education. I've seen the model look at classes or students and schools. Anything to address training parents to help their children learn, the learning process at home?
Parents are critical, and it's one of the things that I found out recently was that the government has looked into this, and they are trying to invest in a portal that is like Parent Connect, which gives parents ways to find out about their child's progress online. And I think that's a good idea. But I think that we also need to use forums like this, and maybe try a few different strategies for involving parents in discussions about education, raising awareness of the importance of education and things that you can do in order to make your child more successful. I mean, if there wasn't enough time in this, but obviously the PTAs have a role to play, but they're having a struggle getting people out. That's just, time doesn't allow to really get into the parenting side of it. But one thing I should say is that there is no single answer to, the challenges in government education. And it's not like we're the only ones facing it. Every country in the world is trying to improve their government education system. There's no single answer. Community involvement is just one part of it.
Okay. I have a question, Becky. Hi.
Hello.
The woman who's too old to do roller derby.
Hi. I want you to come and sing with me. And
I'm going to sing to you. No, this brings up so many questions and so many feelings in me. I'm going to kind of feel my way through my comment. The first thing I think about when I think about helping any school is reconnecting the hearts of the educators to the hearts of the children. I shouldn't say reconnect, I should just say connect, because many educators do have their hearts connected. There's something about the presentation that Abby gave and the presentation that you gave that I feel like I want to see a marriage in, because I feel like so much of what is lacking in the education world is that quality of consciousness and presence, and it sounds like that's a little bit of what you're talking about, presence, real presence. Not showing up through a portal online, but showing up in person and creating an environment that's welcoming so that parents feel a part of the community, so that school becomes more of a community picture and education becomes a holistic experience for the community and not just a little factory where big people dominate little people and fill the containers and kind of numb out the spirit of who they are. Sorry if that sounds a little bit critical, but that's what I feel.
Yeah, I agree with those sentiments. I just, when I first started this out, I kind of felt that there was going to be this tidal wave of support with all these people saying, my God, she gave up her job and now she's doing this for nothing. And that everyone would sort of say, yeah, I'm with you, what can we do? And I'm still asking that. Sorry, that's kind of personal, but if people want to get together and talk about how we can all make this work, I mean, we have a website, www.ben.bm. It's been a great experience, but one of the things I would say from your comment is you're right. I think we would be doing better if charities involved in the education sphere adopted one school. Yeah. So if we could encourage all of the different charities who have in their list of objectives education, please don't offer that to every school. Please adopt one school. There you go.
Thank you, Becky.